All right, you guys, welcome back to the Cali Veil channel. You already know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so then you can stay informed. So, as typical Americans, lazy, entitled, that's the first thing that comes to mind about Americans, right? Well, what about being a professional squatter? A female squatter is pretty much using her privilege to get around and take advantage of seniors living in their homes from one home to another. I guess she's some kind of business traveler, but let's just be real. Most women do not pay rent. Let's just be real. Second of all, let's go ahead and roll the clip. This is straight out of Minneapolis. Let's go.
Living with a squatter who will not leave her house.
This is quite a story. We've uncovered evidence that the person is a potential serial squatter, and she's made herself at home in rental rooms around Minnesota and Wisconsin over the last few years. Fox 9's Corn Hoggard is live at the latest place. And Corn, you confronted her today. So what happened?
Yeah, Kelsey and Randy, she has lived right here since May. She hasn't paid since the first 2 weeks, but the homeowner cannot just kick her out, can't lock her out, because this is now a landlord-tenant situation, so it has to go to the courts.
Yeah, everybody thinks they want to be a landlord until they have to deal with some idiot that's lazy, entitled, and doesn't want to pay you. And this happens more than it's reported, sadly. So everybody thinks about making the extra money and everything until you have to deal with a situation like this. This goes far beyond making repairs.
Just kind of sidled her way in. And honestly, I dropped the ball. I didn't vet her.
Michelle Caravello had dream experiences finding traveling nurses and short-term renters for 3 years. Then Tess Schmidt came for what was supposed to be a 2-week stay.
2 weeks go by and she's not ready to leave. 2 more weeks go by and somebody else is supposed to come. They have a lease.
Yeah, but it's too easy to punk the landlords now. So you have the corporate landlords that'll put your ass out right away versus independent landlords. They have more things to go through. Like they actually have to take the case to court and everything. And nobody wants to go to court, especially independently. But yeah.
And she's still sitting on my sofa when they arrive. Or when I told her she had to leave, she said, "You can say that all you want, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen."
Yeah, you never know a person until you live with them. And a lot of times when you move in with somebody, it's going to be hard to get rid of them. Not only are they going to be a pain in the ass, but they're going to be nasty and not clean up after themselves. And we all know that living with roommates saves money. But some people would rather be broke and just have their own space that they could keep and have everything their way versus dealing with somebody else's bullshit, right? And it's like she said, most travel nurses, they use Airbnbs and room rentals from people because they're not going to be in town long enough to sign a lease, or they just want their freedom. So our automatic assumption is nurses and travelers make a lot of money and they all own homes. Well, they might not want to buy a home where they work at. They might want to go back home, go back and forth. But you get what I'm saying, though. But some people just don't want to pay for anything at all, if they can.
Tess Schmidt, or Contessa Schmidt, or Contessa von Schmidt, is frequently an unwelcome guest at short-term rentals, as she was last year at Susan Clark's St. Paul home.
And then when it came to September 19th, she wouldn't leave. And I called the police on her. And they said they couldn't do anything.
Police are often helpless in these situations without an unlawful detainer, a court eviction notice.
Yeah, looks like your typical Karen. Typical entitled Karen. It's crazy. People are crazy. She might even be on medication. So I just feel sorry for all the victims that had to deal with this pain in the ass. Couldn't get them out their own homes. Because see, you have to remember, renters have more rights than the landlords a lot of times. Now, I could see something like this happening in California all the time. I'm West Coast Bay Area based, so I'm sure this is happening a lot, especially in liberated communities where everybody feels like they're entitled. So, yeah, this woman's crazy.
The process can take weeks or months, and they're not filed in every case, but we found 9 eviction cases against Schmidt in 4 states.
Now, this is mental awareness right here. This woman obviously has something going on with her. She's committing the same crime in all these different places in pretty much, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4 different states. What's the deal here? So, oh my God, what's wrong with people? And it's like, yeah. And a lot of times when you have a living situation set up with somebody, 8 times out of 10, you're going to end up in a courtroom, small claims court. Being that these aren't large cases, these are more personal problem based. So this is not really important to the courts. It's not. It's a personal problem. So it's going to take longer to resolve, sadly.
In one of the court filings, an attorney says he found at least 10 victims in 6 states. Law enforcement has removed her from at least one Wisconsin home, but she's done the same thing again at least 3 places since.
But she needs to be stopped. She's hurting people.
Schmidt sidled back into Caravella's house during our interview, so I confronted her about her squatting history.
10 people.
Okay, I got a solution right here. This is why it's important to keep up with technology. Landlords that are going to rent their properties or rooms out to certain people, they need to use smart home. That way they could change the codes and everything when their time is up. That way they could lock their asses out. And if it turns criminal to where they start breaking into the places, then that's a different story. But if you're a landlord and you're renting out your rooms out to tenants or the whole properties to other people, please use a smart device.
In 6 states. So you've squatted in their houses. You have repeated UD orders from people in Minnesota, Wisconsin, all over the country.
I'm not going to answer this. I travel a lot, and every so often the numbers are you're going to run into issues.
Why is she talking like a computer? She even talks like something's wrong with her.
And I talked to 5 of those victims who each say they spent more than $1,000, some of them up to $8,000, trying to get rid of Schmidt. Also talked to an attorney who said the best way to avoid a situation like this is to use a reputable site like Airbnb that can actually ban someone who does something like this. But if someone slips through the cracks, he said, file for eviction as soon as you can.
Even that takes time, because a corporate landlord could get things pushing faster than an independent landlord can when it comes to being in a court case. So, like I said, the best way to resolve this issue is to use smart devices. Put smart locks on the front door to where you can control it and change the code. That way you don't have to worry about changing the whole locks and the keys and all that. That's a pain in the ass. That's why smart devices are the best as far as home security. Yeah. But hopefully, it's sad. You shouldn't have to spend money on tenants like that you can't get out. So people are paying up to $10,000 because they can't get somebody out. So she's basically a rodent to the landlords, because it's like that cockroach that you can't kill. But yeah, you guys, watch who you rent your properties out to. This is Kylie Vale, and I'll catch you in the next video. Goodbye.